Hello, everyone. This is Kyla from the Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, your family-owned nonprofit community bookstore. And today on our Ask the Author series, we have a very special guest, Miss Sandra Swain, who is the author of this children's book, How Willie Wombat Won the Race, which is available and on display here at Hidden Gems. Please come by and get your copy or give us a call. We'd be happy to ship it to your home. And so we have Miss Sandra here. We're going to be talking a little bit about her book, learning more about her. And Miss Sandra, I want to thank you for your time today.
Sounds good to me.
All right. And where do you live?
I live near Cleveland, Ohio on Lake Erie.
Okay, Cleveland, Ohio. Very cool. So go ahead.
I think Willie might live in New Jersey, though.
Really? Why do you say that?
Actually, there's only a couple of wombats in the United States that I know of. One lives in Chicago at the zoo, and one lives in San Diego at the zoo. But Willie came in through a port somewhere. He moved here with his family from Australia. So he's still on the East Coast.
Interesting. Yeah, why don't we begin by you telling us a little bit about yourself and what piqued your interest in wombats specifically?
Well, I've always liked writing. I have a degree in journalism from Ohio State University. I have worked for newspapers, been a hospital public relations director. I'm currently a realtor, but I'm also a grandma, and I can't keep from writing stories. So I hadn't really published any stories. I was just writing them. And then when COVID hit, like so many other writers you may be interviewing as well, I decided to go ahead and start publishing some of those stories. Excuse me. Duh. I should turn my phone off.
No problem at all.
Any rate, as far as the wombat, I really didn't know anything about wombats. I just knew that they were. They were from Australia, and that was it. And I had a friend who had a little stuffed one in her car, and that's what kind of drew my attention to it. But when I went online or on my phone and started looking them up, I found they were absolutely adorable. They're only the size of a jelly bean when they're born. And like kangaroos and koalas, this is very bad to do that. Kangaroos and koalas, they have a pouch. Their mothers have a pouch. So here is a little baby wombat. Can you see him at all?
Yes.
See, he's got kind of pointy paws. That's because he's a big digger. So he's too big for his mama's pouch now, but he will eventually grow to about the size of a large dog. And they are an endangered species, but they are worth looking up online. Look, if your viewers look at juvenile wombats, they are just charming animals. That makes you wish that they will always be here. So I chose Willie for the story just because I was fascinated with wombats. But the story is about the power of belief. And Willie is kind of a shy kid. I hope you don't mind me calling him a kid, even though he's a wombat, but he's like shy kids. He feels like he's new in the area. People don't know really what to make of him yet. And he's getting picked on in school by these boys on the track team called the Badger Brothers. And as you can see, Willie's kind of chunky, chubby. So they make fun of that. They call him Willie Waddles. He does kind of waddle too. But his mother makes him stay on the track team, and the coach says he can stay on as long as he practices every day. So Willie goes along believing he's slower than the Badger Brothers and only there because his mother's making him. Then Willie is told a powerful secret by his mother. She tells him that that wombats are actually faster than badgers. And once he knew that and believed that, he was able to win the race. So it was his belief that helped him win the race. Prior to that, it was his disbelief that kept him from winning the race. So that is the story I want to tell kids. And I don't think you can really tell kids how powerful belief is. They have to see it to believe it. But I'm trying to tell them in this story how Willie saw it. So did you read the story?
I did. And I thought it was very cute and whimsical. And I loved the part about the secret. And I also liked the ending, how it turned out with Willie and the Badger brothers. And so I also, at the very end, you have a picture here. And you also have some bits of information. One is about Roger Bannister. One talks about badgers and wombats specifically. And then there's another paragraph about wombats. Who is Roger Bannister? Can you, and
well, this goes back to the power of belief. And Roger Bannister was a young man who believed he could run faster than a mile faster than 4 minutes, which everybody else believed was impossible. But his kind of belief was belief in himself. He believed it so strongly, and he worked very hard, and he went out and did it when he was 19 years old in the 1950s. It was a windy, wet, rainy day. He was a student, a medical student, and he still went out, proved to everyone that a man could run a mile in under 4 minutes. And that is a great story, but the part that fascinates me is that after Roger Bannister did that same year, 23 other people went out and ran a mile in under 4 minutes. And those same people had believed it couldn't be done before, just like Willie. But when they saw that someone could do it, they believed they could do it, and they went out and did it. So that was kind of that was the inspiration for my Willie story. Willie had to believe, and finding belief is kind of hard sometimes, but it's worth trying. In Roger's case, he believed in himself and he worked hard. It's like saying, I want to be president. I believe I'm going to be president, but if you don't do something to become president, you're not going to become president. Willie went out and worked hard on the track team, even though his belief kept him at the back of the team. I'm sure there's kids like that too.
I'm sure. And I'm sure there are a lot of children who can relate to going into a new place or a new environment. And of course, we know bullying exists in schools. And so I think there are a lot of children who will read this story and take away exactly what you have planted in this book, which is you have to believe in yourself, you have to have faith and work hard at the things that you achieve. Don't think about people who are telling you that you can't.
And that absolutely is so powerful to ignore the people that say you can't do it. And there's always people that say that. Sometimes there's teachers, but then there's many other teachers that say you can do it. And those are the ones that children need to listen to. And moms and dads too.
That's
older
right.
Brothers and sisters probably aren't any help, but moms and dads would be.
Absolutely. And also this book could be a great way for siblings amongst themselves to be more encouraging and to inspire one another, to motivate one another. And so I think that's also a really cool aspect of this book.
There's kind of a sub element of being picked on, or we'd call it bullying, or being badgered by some of the team members who called him names. And so Willie's mom told Willie and two of his friends they should just go a different way to school so they don't run into the bullies, which is good advice. But look at his friends. One of them is an alligator. The alligator was afraid of the Badger brothers. And we know that in real life, alligators are pretty powerful, kind of like the Lion in the Wizard of Oz. Remember the lion? The lions are big and powerful, and they're kings of the savannah. And yet, the Lion in the Wizard of Oz didn't have the belief until Oz, the wizard, helped him. It's the same thing here. Willie and his alligator friend and his little friend, Natalie Nat, she's adorable. Her uncle told her to go just punch these badgers in the nose. And when she tried, they wouldn't stand still, so she couldn't do it. But at any rate, a solution to a problem being picked on is to find other friends, other places, other activities. I mentioned in the book, it's hard to beat a bully on what he's an expert at. It worked out nicely for Willie, but Willie could have been a bad runner, in which case he should have taken up the cello or robots or something else that would get him connected to other kids.
It's important for children to find community when they're in school or going to sports and things like that. Community is very important for all of us.
Crucial in so many schools. I know here in Ohio, they have cut out sports and art and music in some of the classes. And it's a tragedy because we never know what will turn a child on. Maybe he won't become a great pianist, but playing the piano might make him feel better about himself, or drawing, or anything. I always feel sad when sports teams are out going door to door trying to collect money for uniforms. I don't know, do you do that in New Jersey too?
There are a couple teams here that do that.
So today's taxpayers or school state budgets aren't supporting enough of in my mind, enough of the activities that may turn a student into somebody who has self-confidence. So many activities could help that, and you never know till you get in them.
That's absolutely right. And I love the quote that you included. Is it on the very last? Yes, on the very last page, you included a quote by Henry Ford that says, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right." Isn't that
absolutely? That's the essence of the whole story. It's what we believe that makes us either achieve or not. Anyway, Kyla, I'm thrilled to be part of this discussion today.
Oh, well, we're thrilled to have you.
And what do you do with Zoom call? What do you do with it?
Oh, well, this video will be posted on our YouTube channel, Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, and we also stream it on the homepage of our website. So thank you to everybody who has been visiting our website on a regular basis. We appreciate you. And so this interview will be on the homepage of our website. And then we also write a review for you. And we put that as a blog post, which will be on the front of the website as well. And it will also be on goodreads.com.
Well, I appreciate being part of it. And since I'm thinking that parents might be some of the people who watch this, that I would encourage parents to encourage their kids in anything or everything until they find their own way through all this, because you just never know what's going to turn a child on. In this case, it was knowledge about how fast he could run, but there's just so many ways that that could happen. So that's what I would personally like to be encouraging.
Thank you for saying that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I want to ask you a question about your authorship. So is this the first book that you have published?
No, I also wrote a prior book about Willie called Willie Wombat's Walk. And in that, you're probably familiar with the book, The Four Agreements. Maybe not.
No.
But anyway, they're wisdom, the four agreements. If you follow them, your life will be better. But two of the four agreements were, don't take things personally, and most of our assumptions are wrong. Now, you can't tell a child that, but this is what Willie was learning. He is new in the area and he is invited to a birthday party and he feels horrible. So his mother, who's very wise, sends him outside because he's just moping in his room, and she sends him out on a walk. And on his walk, he runs into other new friends of his. And each one of them is not invited to the birthday party, and each one of them thinks they know why. The squirrel thinks it's because she likes nuts and they call her Nutty. The owl thinks they call her Smarty Pants. The octopus thinks it's because he can't walk on land, even though he can, and nobody knows that. He's upset. He thinks that's why he's not invited. So what I'm hoping is that people can see we hurt ourselves sometimes with our assumptions and taking it personally. The basis of the mother's wisdom in this story is that she tells them the fact that they were invited to the party has nothing to do with how they look, what they do, what they eat, how smart they are, how not smart they are, whether they can walk on land or not. It's just because the other kid's mother said he could only invite 8 of his friends. And so he did. He invited 8, and these did not get invited, but it wasn't for any of the reasons they thought it was. So a young child reading that first book of mine, Willie Wombat's Walk, I think will see the value of friendship and how that took Willie from being a moping, sad kid to a happy kid. And older kids, I'm hoping that they'll recognize that all of these assumptions made by each animal was wrong. I got to Zoom with my daughter's 4th grade class, and they really understood that. She may have told them, but they really seem to understand that, how we need to challenge our assumptions because many times they are wrong. We don't have enough information. And all of Willie's friends ended up at his house for a impromptu party and had a great time, including the octopus.
Oh, that's funny.
So those are 2 are about Willie. I've written one, When Critters Get Cranky, which is unfortunately a true story about my grandchildren being rascals. And I am publishing 2 others. One is called The Shenanigans of Pickle and Jam, which doesn't have a great message in it. It's about little twin raccoons who get into lots of trouble. And that one was inspired by me following a garbage truck one day on a highway near here. And as I looked at this truck in front of me, it had a ladder in the back, and there was a raccoon at the top of the ladder. Its fur was blowing in the wind, and I thought, boy, that one's getting transported. So that's kind of the basis of these raccoons. They're enticed by the wonderful smells of garbage and get into so much problem they almost don't get home. And then I'm also publishing one called Whiskers and the Giant Mouse, which I don't want to talk about yet. I just want to keep talking about Willie, but the raccoons will be a cute story too. No great message other than kids just get into trouble.
Okay. Well, thank you for informing us about things that you have coming in the future. It's always good for readers to know. And can we talk a little bit about the illustrations? So how did you come about running into Miss or Mr.?
I don't know the person who did the illustration. The publisher provided them, but their importance is critical to the story. I mean, kids are used to looking at everything visually. They did make me come up with layout ideas, which were stick figures. But the artist for each of my books, I think, has been amazing. They tell as much of the illustrations tell as much of the story as the actual story, I think. So I am grateful to have people I don't know illustrating my books, and I feel very lucky that they have done an awesome job.
Yes, and you both did such a wonderful job with paralleling the image, and the image is showing exactly what the text is showing. And so I thought that was also a good part of this book, because sometimes books, not all children's books do that. Sometimes the picture doesn't exactly relate to the text, but here it does. And so, and you can tell
I was very pleased with the photos, and I think they show how cute Willie is, but also his friends. And truly, it's worth people's time to look up a wombat on their phone. The juvenile wombats are just charming little critters. I found one picture of Yo-Yo Ma, who is a famous cellist, on a bathroom floor with a wombat in Chicago. Apparently the wombat was visiting from the zoo, and Yo-Yo Ma, I presume, was playing his cello, but there they are on the floor meeting each other in some kind of bathroom. Anyway, we're not likely to see real life wombats, and because of all the bushfires and lack of habitat in Australia, they may be lost. So I was kind of hoping that people will become a little aware of wombats too, and kangaroos and koalas.
I love books that put nature and creation in the forefront. And I think it's really important, especially for children, especially in this time. A lot of children have been inside for long periods of time. It's important for children to go out, look at nature, interact with the animals. And so when we got this book in the mail and we saw the wombat, we thought that was really cute, about how there's an animal who's the main character, but there's also information about the animal in the back.
Yes. I love giving the information, and Willie Wombat's Walk, I put an octopus in because I had read a book called The Soul of an Octopus and became fascinated by the relationship between an octopus and people. I went to visit an octopus down at the Cleveland Aquarium, and they told me he was like a teenager and he was always hiding. But when I got there, he came over to the glass and put all his tentacles out. It was a great experience. But then I started watching them on my phone too. They can change colors in seconds. There is one octopus who they said was photographed in 167 colors in seconds. They are extremely interesting animals. And then when I found out that they could walk on land for about half an hour, I knew I had to include an octopus in my first story, just because they're fascinating.
Animals are quite fascinating.
Yes.
And so last question that I have for you, and of course, feel free to add anything else that you would like us to know. Where is the best place for people to connect with you online? Maybe if they want to ask you a question or leave a review about this book or any of your other books, where's the best way for people to connect with you online?
Sandy, SANDY, Swain, SWAIN @gmail would be the best way. And I would love any kind of discussion that people have and suggestions. My daughter, who I mentioned is a fourth grade teacher, has kept me from embarrassing myself too much with my stories. I use the word dejected in the book there, or in the first book, Willie Wombat's Walk, but I gave the definition. I said he felt sad, he felt bad, he felt dejected. Someone told me not to use that word, but I think if you're teaching, you can teach words by putting the definition or description right by them. So I try to do that, but if I get too far off base, my daughter says no. So she's an awesome support for me. Actually, I should probably have a less biased analysis than my daughter, who pretty much likes most of what I write, but she is a big help. And I loved Zooming with the fourth grade. I can't tell you, they were all at home when I Zoomed with them, because of COVID. And I saw one girl was trying to talk, her cat was walking right across her keyboard. I could see two boys wrestling on a bed in the background, and I'm thinking, how on earth can a teacher handle all those kids via Zoom all day long? But anyway, the fourth graders really understood what I was trying to write about there. And again, young children see the value of friends. they're happy when they know Willie has friends. Anyway, Kyla, I'm so excited to be part of this today. I have a friend who has a bookstore in Buffalo that is also nonprofit. I never even heard of nonprofit bookstores until I talked with him, and your reason for being is awesome. I had no idea there were nonprofit bookstores.
Well, here we are, and thank you for saying that. What's the name of your friend's bookstore?
What's the name of what?
Your friend's bookstore.
Oh, I forgot.
You have to send it to me.
I will do that.
Okay, because I want to look.
It may be the only nonprofit in Buffalo, and he recently received an award, so I should know the name of the store. They put my books in it, so I really should know the name of the store. But I will get that to you, Kyla.
Okay, because I see a few. There's one that says there's just Buffalo Literary Center, and then there's Dog Ears Bookstore and
Castle. That's it. Dog Eared.
Oh, they're so cute. We're gonna add them on Instagram and tell them that we spoke to their friend Sandra and Willie.
Oh, I would love that.
Yes.
Okay. I've been meaning to get to Buffalo a little closer than New Jersey to see the bookstore. Love the name of your bookstore. Hidden Gems Literary Emporium.
That's right. Raymond, my husband, came up with that.
It just gives it gravitas. It sounds better than nonprofit bookstore.
Well, we appreciate that. And we appreciate your time today. We want to encourage everybody who will be watching this video to please come on by Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, your family-owned nonprofit community bookstore, and get your copy of Miss Sandra Swain's book, Willy, How Willie Wombat Won the Race. And we have a few copies left here. So come on by and get your child's one. We have a lot of friends and supporters who are teachers for elementary age students. So teachers, come on by and get you a copy. If you are a Hidden Gem supporter but don't live in New Jersey, please feel free to give us a call. We'd be happy to ship a copy of How Willie Wombat Won the Race to your home or to your friend if it's for someone else. And please stay in touch with Miss Sandra Swain and learn more about her other books and the books that will be coming out. And Miss Sandra, we want to thank you again for your time today, zooming in all the way from Ohio. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Kyla. I really appreciate it and love the interview. Bye-bye.
That's great. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.